We're back with another great episode of Liftoff with Jeanniey Walden. I'm your host, Jeanniey Walden. We are kicking off today's show with three very talented, very creative pros in the film industry. Into the Spotlight tells the story of a gifted young songwriter who finds fame but loses herself along the way. Joining us now are Andrea Parton and Jason Carter, stars of Into the Spotlight, as well as the movie's executive producer, Michelle Cox. Welcome to Liftoff, everyone.
Thank you for having us today. We're honored that you have an interest in our movie, our film.
Michelle, can you talk about how Into the Spotlight started?
Absolutely. Into the Spotlight is a heartfelt story of a group of individuals that come together with a full range of intellectual and physical disabilities to create, write, rehearse, and perform an annual musical for our community every year. And it is, for the past 14 years, we've witnessed the joy of what this program brings to our community. But most importantly, we've witnessed the joy of seeing our cast members realize unique abilities that they would not otherwise have the opportunity to realize. As you'll see in our film, our cast members believe that there are no limitations to what their abilities are, and the stage actually allows them to realize these abilities, and it's just been a joy to be on that journey with them, and this film shares that process.
Andrea, what does it mean for you to be part of an Oscar qualifying film?
Certainly, I recognize that Into the Spotlight is a documentary, but in spite of that, I thought to myself during filming that perhaps it would be my big break. I am excited to see how many film festivals have accepted Into the Spotlight and the awards it has gotten at some of the film festivals where it has been accepted. And I'm just really hopeful that Into the Spotlight will be nominated for an Oscar. I have actually watched the Academy Awards every year for the last 31 years. Maybe the next time I watch them, I will see Into the Spotlight being mentioned as a nominee for Best Documentary Feature.
Jason, why do you love being part of the Spotlight Musical Theater?
Well, it gives me a chance to play different characters depending on what the director gives me. So I kind of enjoy playing all the different characters I get in each performance that we do.
Wow, it was such a pleasure having you all on, and I can't wait to see this film.
We're grateful for your interest, and thank you so much for allowing us to share our story, and we're thrilled to have the opportunity to share it with the world. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you remember our first group photo? This is it. Smiles all around, even though we were all nervous.
Who could have imagined that our first weekend together would soon turn into a lifetime of memories?
You're an amazing young man. Your brothers and sisters really look up to you. They're a big brother.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
I ain't never felt so much love before in my life.
Welcome back. Even if you have not personally experienced back pain, chances are someone you know and love has. More than 30 million Americans suffer from debilitating back pain, and now there's a groundbreaking treatment that's changing people's lives, the Intracept procedure. With more than 15 years of experience in medicine, Dr. Frank Ocasio is a board-certified anesthesiologist and interventional pain management specialist. He joins us now to tell us more about this life-changing treatment. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you, Jeannie, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to be here. We were talking before we started to tape this segment all about back pain and different elements, but on camera, we're going to be talking about this amazing life-changing treatment. So, and we all know that back pain is really common, but tell us, is there a specific part of back pain treatment that's groundbreaking that we should all know about right now?
Yeah, so first of all, back pain is incredibly common in and of itself. There's over 30 million Americans that are suffering from back pain and really struggle to find relief. There's different types of pain and also different types of treatment options, which makes it a little confusing for patients. There's a specific type of pain called vertebrogenic pain.
All right,
Now,
wait. So for everybody that's watching, I know they're going to go to pick out their phones and go to Google or TikTok right now and check it out. So
Right.
it's vertebrogenic
Correct.
pain. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
vertebrogenic pain.
Yeah.
So vertebrogenic pain, only until recently, didn't have a clear diagnosis or way to treat. But now we have the Intercept procedure.
And so what is vertebrogenic pain?
So the best way to understand it is if you take your spine and imagine all the bones that make up your spine as blocks. So they're all stacked on top of each other. In between those blocks are little cushions called the discs. So over time, those discs start to break down, and inside the disc is material that can kind of work its way into the end plates, which is the bone on opposite sides of those discs. As they break down, they become inflamed, and there's a lot of nerve endings in there, and that pain gets transmitted through this little nerve called the basivertebral nerve. Goes up the spine to the brain, and then you sense pain. What patients feel, they'll feel pain with prolonged sitting like this, pain bending forward, pain twisting, maybe loading the dishwasher. And more often than not, they'll be struggling with this pain for decades, having gone through chiropractic therapies, physical therapy, injections, opioid treatments, and really not seeing relief until the Intercept procedure.
Wow, that's crazy and scary at the same time. But tell me about the Intercept procedure. How's it changing people's lives?
Sure. So one fun fact is that approximately 1 out of 6 patients with chronic back pain will actually be a candidate for the Intercept procedure because of this vertebrogenic pain. So it's a really groundbreaking procedure in that it's the only FDA-approved treatment for this specific type of pain. There have already been over 15,000 patients treated in the US, and it's safe, it's effective, minimally invasive, supported by multiple clinical studies. And the way that it's done is we use specialized tools to access and target this basivertebral nerve, which is giving sensation to these end plates. And through radio frequency energy, we're able to deactivate that nerve and provide long-term relief.
Oh, so there's probably no downtime or minimal downtime?
Yeah, the downtime for this procedure is probably a few weeks. And I'll be honest, I've had patients who have told me that their post-procedural discomfort is a joy compared to the pain that they've had for many years.
Wow. And is this something that older people are susceptible to, or younger people, or people of any age? Is it based on the work that you do, the life that you lead?
Yeah, it can run the gambit, to be honest. You could have a perfectly good spine, and then there's one disc that starts to break down and produce that end plate inflammation. You could, and that could be a younger person who just herniated and damaged a disc. There could be someone who's much older, and over the years, over time, multiple levels get degenerated. And so it could be any age.
Wow, it's such great information. It's super exciting to hear that there's a solution for all of this. You're probably making so many people happy.
Yeah, no, it's a nice procedure to be able to offer to patients, because to be able to take someone who's been dealing with years of pain and deactivate it so that they can live a healthy, meaningful life. It's nice to be able to offer that to people.
Well, this is fantastic, Doctor. Thank you so much for being on Liftoff. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, don't go away unless you're going to stretch your back. We've got more great guests coming up soon.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Welcome back. You may have heard rumblings of the so-called silver tsunami, aka the gray wave, or the great wealth transfer, which refers to the plethora of small businesses owned by baby boomers who will all be retiring in the next 12 to 15 years. Our next guest, Ray Drew, serves as Managing SBA Business Development Officer at FundX Solutions Group. Ray Drew has dedicated his entire professional career to helping small business owners navigate through the intricacies of SBA borrowing. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Thank you for having me.
So, Ray, with roughly 10,000 baby boomers reaching retirement age every day, what does that mean for the business landscape in the upcoming years?
Well, a lot of those baby boomers own businesses. And what we're seeing is that their kids, typically millennials, have very little interest taking those businesses over. These are blue collar businesses. These are manufacturing businesses, businesses in the trades. And so these owners are having to sell these businesses in the open market. And it's estimated that $7 trillion worth of these businesses will sell in this decade alone, which would make this the biggest transfer of wealth our nation has ever seen. And it's creating an opportunity for folks to come along and buy these businesses and create some generational wealth for themselves.
And what are the best ways to keep thriving businesses locally rooted into the next generation?
Well, the buyers that we are lending money to, they are your typical mom and pop type of buyer. This is a distinction between the private equity companies that come in and try to buy businesses, and then basically all they care about is the bottom line. So most of the folks that we lend to are in the community. They're either local or they're relocating for this opportunity, and their plan is to transfer the business and keep it, in many cases, consistent with how the seller has been running it. And that's a big factor that sellers consider when they're choosing who to sell it to.
Gotta ask, any do's or don'ts for the boomer age group as well as the younger generation inheriting this workforce in their absence?
Well, yes. So on the boomer generation, as you call it, these would be your sellers. So as you're looking to make this transition and sell your business, you have to get it prepared for sale. And most of these businesses will be packaged up and brokered by an intermediary of some sorts. And often the planning should start years in advance, because the businesses that are getting financed and getting bought, they're profitable. And the tax returns show that. And you have to make sure you're setting your business up as a seller to be sold for as much money as possible so that you can go on to retirement. On the flip side, on the buyer side, these buyers we're seeing, they're often 25 to 45 years old. They're mid-career folks or early career folks. And some of my advice to them is to come in, do no harm. This could be an industry you don't know much about. If you come in and start making changes day one because you think you know a better way to do it, that can disrupt, a lot of the business that's been built and the employees and how it's perceived, because the employees are who makes the business run. And if you turn them off, it can start causing some problems in that transition period.
This was such a new concept to me, but I'm so excited to talk to you about it. And now I've got a completely different perspective. Have to go make some phone calls. I think I need to buy some businesses. Thanks for being on Liftoff, Ray.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. There is more to come.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Marjie Hadad is a global public relations expert, the author of the award-winning international #1 bestseller, The Power of PR Parenting. I have my copy right here. She's also an award-winning TV producer, as well as a speaker on how to apply public relations practices to help make parenting easier. Our kids thrive following her advice, and she speaks about our world, making it a kinder, more respectful place. Who doesn't want that? Welcome to Liftoff, Marjie.
Thank you so much. Delighted to be here.
Why did you decide to write this book? I heard it was actually your daughter's idea.
True. It was my daughter's idea. And of course, we always do what our daughters tell us to do, right? My daughter and I were sitting on this very couch. In fact, she was sitting where I'm sitting right now. And she was telling me about some of her friends who were newly married and were concerned that they wouldn't be able to juggle parenthood with their career pursuits. And she looked at her friends and she said, you know, my mother's been doing this for 25 years. Of course you can. And she looked at me during our conversation and she said, Mom, you know, you made mistakes, but overall, I think you got it right. I think you should write a book that will help the next generation of working moms with this balance. And when I looked back, Jeannie, and I was thinking, what is it? What is it that I got right? And I understood that I had used my professional skills as a public relations executive to raise my kids. And guess what? It worked. And I'm hoping that the people who read this book, The Power of PR Parenting, are able to benefit and that it works for them so well that this continues for generations to come.
I think they certainly will. And you know, I'm a big fan of the concept of work-life integration because, like you, as a working mom, I've always had to balance, and it's really not a balance. It is more of an integration. And when I read your book, I started thinking about all of the times where I've had those pivotal mom moments and how I dealt with them. And I just started laughing because so many of those times I found myself doing exactly what your book says, using something I learned from the workplace and applying it in a personal situation. So I completely get it. But for all of our listeners out there, give us a practical example of how public relations can help with blending work and family life.
Well, ultimately, it's about bringing your superpowers home. You know, we were told growing up, I'm assuming you were, and I certainly was, leave the job at the job and don't bring it home. And I would say in PR parenting, the concept is bring your superpowers home, bring those special skills that make you you. Don't waste your time and energy separating issues. Let your kids and your family benefit from the best of you. And frankly speaking, whatever those special things that you do at home, also bring that back to work. It's symbiotic and it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's so true. And, you know, when your book showed up in the mail, my husband opens the mail because when he opens the mail, we get money. And when I open it, it's a bill. So we have a rule in our house that only he can open the mail. And so he saw the book, he flipped through it, he started reading. He's got his favorite. I started reading. I've got my favorite. But tell all of the viewers, what tip in the book has resonated the most with readers that you've heard from so far?
A couple of things. One is help rather than handle. It's a customer service issue. When we want something to be fixed and we ask for help and the answer is, in a nice way, sorry, we can't help you, we just get frustrated. And the same thing happens with our kids. In this case, however, the kids are the customer and we're customer service. So the idea when they're tugging at our clothes or they're throwing a temper tantrum or whatever they're doing to try to get your attention, rather than brush them off because they're asking you probably at a very unopportune time, take the 30 seconds to a minute, find out what the core issue is, help them, and then watch the situation alleviate itself.
Yeah, I love it. Everything that you're saying resonates so perfectly with my life, and I'm sure so many of our viewers. Now that you've written this book and you've given us all the roadmap to solve our parenting challenges, what's next for you?
Well, I am speaking and I'm helping moms and mentors to learn how to use PR parenting skills. And frankly speaking, because public relations, like you said, is a common denominator for many professions out there, it's a very, very natural process, and it can be an awful lot of fun as well. So I'm here to help, Jeannie, however I can.
Absolutely. Well, you're helping already. I think you've inspired me, my family, and I'm sure you've inspired so many of our viewers. Thank you so much for being on Liftoff. It was great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, and all the best.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We will be right back.
Bring it.
Oh, he's on fire.
Time out, guys. I'm late to dinner. My mom's gonna kill me. Catch you guys later.
Mom wants us home. Okay. Bye, guys.
You guys need a ride?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. How about some one-on-one? I gotta go eat, man. Sorry. I'll see you later.
Our next guest is a special woman on a special, very personal mission. Eve Goldberg is the founder of Big Vision, a company saving lives one recovery step at a time. We're so happy to have you on Liftoff, Eve.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So tell us all a little bit about your story.
My story. Okay, I don't think we have enough time, but I will start. So my story is that I've been in a for-profit business my entire life. And then almost 10 years ago, I lost my son, Isaac, to an accidental drug overdose. And that kind of changed everything for me. I'm in a luxury business, and it changed my perspective on life. And so one of the things that was really lacking for Isaac when he died of a drug overdose, when he was trying to stay sober, when he was trying not to use substances, was finding a way to live his life and have fun again. And so I founded Big Vision as a way to help other young adults who are in recovery from substances and help them live fulfilling lives, full of fun, doing everything they did before, just no substances.
It's such a powerful vision and so incredibly supportive and just really amazing for the entire world and the community, taking your personal loss and turning it into something that's so good for so many people that have struggled with the same situation that you're in. What's your vision for where the company goes?
So we're a nonprofit foundation, and we do all of our events for free. So that's one thing we've always stuck to that. We do sober activities. Everything is no cost to the participants. And then we finally were able to find a space, a physical space, which was my dream. When I came up with this idea, my dream was to have a building or just a space somewhere where we can do these activities and help all of these young adults. So we now purchased a space on East 49th Street in Manhattan, and we're starting the demolition soon, and we're going to create the first recovery center for young adults in New York City. So one of the goals is to just be able to reach out to many more people than we've already been. And another goal is to erase the shame and the stigma that's associated with this horrific disease of addiction, and just help as many more people that we can.
So you're probably helping families as much as the individuals that are recovering from addiction, which is something that is so needed in the world today. And I think for anybody that's watching, they know somebody or they personally have a family member that has an addiction issue, is struggling, is in recovery. And so you've just opened up a whole new world of possibilities and opportunities for everybody. It's amazing. How can people that are watching get involved? How can they donate? How can they find more information? If they live close by, how can they volunteer to help and build the center?
Volunteering for us is usually pretty simple. You show up to an event, you be supportive of the people there, chat them up, just make them feel comfortable and just be like a part of the event. Obviously, everything is substance-free. No matter what activity we do, we try and make it where there are no triggers. So even I was saying a bowling alley could be very triggering because it's more about the bar than the bowling these days. So we just make sure to find places, and our activities are always going to be substance-free. So people can volunteer. We're doing our first benefit in November, which we're very excited about, where they're honoring me, the founder, which I'm a little bit uncomfortable with, but I'm accepting it because it is the first year we're doing it. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, what we really want to do also is we want to reach out to corporations. We've started working with them where they all have different programming and resources for their companies, but most of them do not have any for the recovery community. And many people in the corporate world today are not drinking, not doing drugs, they're in recovery, they're in AA, and they're not giving them the resources. So we're working with them to help educate them and just, give these resources to their people, to their employees.
It's such a great idea. And I think you said something that I never really thought of until right this very second. Companies and corporations do so much for care and support when you identify an issue, when you're going through the issue, but what happens when you're in recovery, and how can companies support that process as well? And great opportunities. I'm really, really grateful, Eve, that you were able to come on the show. I know you're getting ready for the big gala. Congratulations on being honored, and you deserve tremendous, tremendous kudos for everything that you're doing. I hope all of our viewers take a moment and get involved, because you're really changing the world and making it a better place.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes,
Thanks.
and thank you so much for being on Liftoff. For everybody that's watching, we're so appreciative that Eve was able to come on. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
Well, that's it for us today here on Liftoff. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to follow us on social for more tips and behind-the-scenes content. See you next time.
The proceeding was sponsored by Liftoff Enterprises, LLC.